Hey everybody, it's Alyssa from Awaken Authenticity. This is
Reverend Valentine.
And today is a day where if you are offended by cursing, you might want to skip this one.
I can be clean-ish.
No, this is not something I'm interested in today.
Cool.
Because we're talking about not giving a fuck.
Oh, yeah, there's that. It's in the title.
So if you were to explain to someone who didn't know you who you are, what you do, how you show up.
That's terrifying.
I'll start. She's a mom. She's got 2 little kids. They're not little anymore. She's got a bunch of animals.
I'm a dinosaur.
She's
only because I have tiny arms, so like it's the T-Rex thing. Oh, see that thing's like, see?
She's got, she's an artist. She does tattoo artistry and a bunch of other kind of artistry.
I was actually a professional tattoo artist. Like, I'm not, like, shady.
Right.
Well, I'm shady, but not, yeah.
She's very crafty. We like making things together a lot.
Yes.
And you are a performer. And costumer.
Yeah.
And various other things. Anything else that you want to talk about?
I have a lot of cats. I'm a crazy cat lady. But I don't put that on my Tinder profile, so.
Yet.
I don't know. Might attract a whole other set of guys. Woo! Let's try this flavor.
Oh, God. Anyway, so today we want to talk.
Was that the offensive things you were talking about?
No, we're talking about something else. So today we wanted to talk about your flavor of being authentic. The reason that I wanted to invite you onto this series of interviews is because I think that you are particularly good at expressing yourself authentically. Her flavor of authenticity is that of not giving a fuck. And
which I really didn't realize until you pointed this out. I mean, I did it once because I don't fucking care. So why would I dwell on that shit?
Okay, so to you, what does it mean to not give a fuck? You mentioned some things earlier about not giving a fuck.
Oh, yeah, what did I mention?
You were talking about, okay, so what's the difference between saying fuck it and not giving a fuck?
Well, I mean, I think fuck it is more of an aggressive, it's like with animosity, you're like, fuck it, I'm done. Mm-hmm. I do that a lot too. But I think not giving a fuck is more like not letting things get under your skin and dictating your existence. And it's the whole choosing your battles and, and then actually doing that, not just like, I'm picking my battles, and you're like, all right, fine, I'll get involved. I do that shit too. Like, even things that I know, I'm like, oh, I'm just going to tie these cinder blocks to my legs and go swimming. I mean, I realize there's a life jacket sitting next to me. This seems a little bit more fun. And could somebody else tie the knots so I don't know how to get out of them? I have a lot of those days. Yeah, So anyway... somehow I get out of it, or maybe I'm just a rotting corpse at the bottom of a lake and I don't know any better. Woo! That's not giving a fuck.
Okay, that's one way of not giving a fuck. What else about...
No, you know what I mean? They'll, pick your battles, but then when you pick a battle that's shitty, just accept the fact that you picked that shitty battle and get on with your life. Sorry, that was, what I was getting to, but, in a really, intense way. But.
So, taking responsibility for the decisions you're making.
Absolutely. Not giving a fuck. The number one thing about not giving a fuck is taking responsibility, but not letting that ruin your life. You're like, yeah, man, all right, I fucked up, and I'm sorry, and I'm remorseful, and if you want to forgive me, fuck yeah, and if you don't, I can't control you.
Yeah. Great. Yeah.
So just accept that person's a dick and won't forgive you. And you're like, I mean, you don't like them. I'm just saying you just go, and then you don't waste time on it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not saying 5 days later you're not going to be like, dick. But you're not, it's not every day. I'm not crazy girlfriend at 3 a.m. texting you. I mean, I've done that, but I was generally drunk. Or horny. I don't know. So anyway. Depends on the day. But yeah, you just don't fucking obsess on shit.
Yeah.
And I obsess on shit. Don't get me wrong, but yeah.
Okay, so taking responsibility for your decisions, also not taking things personally.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And accepting the fact that, I mean, we talked about this earlier, that you can have your own set of values, and I can have my own set of values, and they're all good values, but she doesn't have to be the same as me, and I'm just like, that's cool. Like, you're living your life because you're a decent human being. I mean, as long as you haven't killed anybody that didn't deserve it, then I don't have an issue with you, you know? Like...
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's like, we're cool. Like, be you and I be me, and if you're like, well, I don't get why you think that, you know, that's why we get along, is because we may have differing opinions sometimes, but you're also like, I totally see where you're coming from and can understand why you feel that way, and I'm like, yeah, and I respect where you're coming from, so...
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, I like that.
So it's that acceptance. So I think that's one of the things, too, is just acceptance.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm going to write these down because they're actually really good.
Why do you really have giving no fucks written on your paper?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's what this is about. So
I'm branding myself. Giving no fucks.
Taking responsibility. What was the second thing I said?
I don't know, but maybe Jack Daniels would sponsor me in that.
Good luck. Okay, so the other thing that I wanted to talk about was, so when you're not, earlier you said that giving no fucks is not caring. It's about knowing where you put your energy.
Yeah, totally. Oh God, that sounds really hippy-dippy too, doesn't it? Anyway.
No, it sounds like really...
No, but okay, so it's like where you're putting your energy. I mean, like, in terms of, like, I get up in the morning, it's like making a to-do list, and you prioritize your to-do list. Yeah. You're like, I have to get this shit done. I don't get any of it done. No, actually, I do.
That's not true.
Well, yeah.
She gets a ton done, like, more than most.
My to-do list have outlines to them, like, with Roman numerals and shit.
Do you have one?
No, I think they're at home, because I keep them in a journal next to me. Other people journal, I do to-do lists. I literally do to-do lists. It's like cathartic for me. I'm not going to get the shit done, but at least I had the intention. I put the intention there, and if I put the intention out enough, eventually it happens.
Can you give us an example of a day in your life?
Really? Leave out the masturbating?
Sure, leave that out.
I think I just put it in, actually. Oh, God, I hope my kids see this.
Okay, day in the life.
Day in the life. So I get up, okay, so the night before I've usually gone to bed anywhere between 1 and 4. As you can attest, you've seen my life. 1's a good early night for me. 2's average, 2:30. I'm up by 5:36 every morning, because I got little people that depend on me. Oh, that's a lot. And, they're alive. Anyway, I think I haven't talked to them in like 24 hours. So anyway, so I mean, I get up, I do that. I tend to get up and clean a little bit in the mornings and stuff. I can't do anything creative during the day. It's a thing. Like, I just can't. Like, I'll fucking spontaneously combust. I can't do it. Menial tasks I'm great with during the day. So it's a lot of, binge watching TV while I'm doing 20 other things, cleaning, paperwork, bills. If I have freelance jobs, it's weird I can do that, because like I do the murals or tattoos. I can kind of sketch things roughly, because that's not as I've been given direction. So, does that make sense on the creative front? Mm-hmm. You know, when you have something, you're like, deadline, and I have a specific thing I want, but when you have to actually be ethereal creative, you're like, that happens at night. And the voices kick in, and they're like, do not sleep. We have ideas. And then you have a lot of conspiracy theories that you work on.
Okay, so after you've done your mural sketching...
Oh, so that's like my whole day is... Oh, and then I get my kids off the bus, and I make them dinner, and I get them to Taekwondo, because they're like diehard Taekwondo. I have like weirdly good kids. I don't know how it happened. So... Why are you saying you don't know how it happened either?
No, I'm kidding.
Totally fucking with you. Your face, you were like, did I offend her? How did that happen? No, so anyway, yeah, do that, get them, and then by that time we're home and we kind of chill out and we do their home, do homework and, it sounds so mommy, but like bake cookies. I mean, I do something with my kids in the evening before they go to bed, even if it's just like chilling, and then, around 10 they go to bed, and then that's when I start like ding, 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 and I work on jewelry, or, right now I'm renovating a house, so do a lot of wiring at like 2 in the morning, which that's safe, I'm sure.
I remember one day seeing on Amy's Facebook page that she just woke up and she refloored the kitchen and repainted all of the cabinets in a single day.
Surprise contractor!
And her husband at the time came home and was like, huh. Oh. So she gets a ton done. And what I'm saying is part of the reason that she gets a ton done.
Because I don't give a fuck about the other things in my life, like the minutia.
Yeah.
Because I get focused. Actually, and it's great because if you're like super busy or you engage in like insane projects, I don't highly recommend like renovating an entire kitchen in a day, because that's a little like, even I black out. Like, it's like I black out. And then I wake up and I'm like, dude, the kitchen looks fucking good. What the fuck happened? And alien abduction. Remember that conspiracy theory thing? It's a whole other thing.
Okay, so talk more about this. Not the blacking out part where you get insane
so
amounts of stuff.
hyper-focused. So you get so hyper-focused, you don't worry about the other stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if you can dive into shit, trust me, I have my days when I'm not as productive. Usually Mondays, because I work like insane hours all weekend, and I'm spent by Monday. So Monday's a lot of downtime because I'm just physically done. But my head goes, and that's the day that I'll start doing the like, that motherfucker said this, and then I'll start getting a little twerky, and then I'm like, I need to but I can conscientiously start to go, I need to put this aside. Sometimes,
so talk more about that conscientious put aside, because I think that is not easy for most people to do. How, like, what happens in your mind? What do you do?
I compartmentalize the shit out of things. I really do. Like, it's weird. I'm like a really intensely emotional person. You know that. You've seen me, but at the same time, I'm really good at just cutting shit off. Like, I'm like, the minute it's, whether it's sadness or whatever, like, I can just divide. I mean, like, one of the best examples is, like, my mom passing away. And, it's still fucked up for me to talk about, but it's like, I went right back to work, and people were just hounding me about, like, this is so bad for you, and this is, I'm like, no, fuck you. My way of dealing with this, and I'm completely self-aware of the fact that I literally, like, oh my god, I hate saying this, but I literally will visualize, like, me fucking putting a shit in a box and being like, done, wrap it up, and I store it away, and if I do that, you can hear the monster kicking in the box, but you choose to ignore it. You're just like...
Do you ever open that box?
Sometimes you do, and then I'll come back because I'm not as entwined in the situation, and I'm like, it may not be as big a deal as I thought it was.
The monster's smaller than you remembered.
Or it could be a bigger deal, and I'm like, I actually need to deal with this, but I'm not in a weird place in my head that I'm, like, so emotionally wrapped up in it. So it's like, I do that a lot. I mean, not to get into detail, but, like, with the breakup I'm just having, it's weird, because it's like, I'm just like, okay, it's gotta go. Like, this is getting to be, it's consuming me. And when something eats away at you, it's literally like physically eating away at, you get run down, you get mentally tired by it. It's too much. It's like a fucking weight.
Yeah.
Take it off. And then when you come back, you might be stronger to deal with it, so that weight doesn't feel as heavy as it did before.
Yeah. So another thing that I think that a lot of people have trouble with is taking this sort of like, this is what you're talking about, like mentally compartmentalizing your emotional issues. But I think what a lot of people do is they kind of like mentally picture how they want their life, and then they sit there mentally thinking about that, and they don't do the action. And I think that one thing you're really good at doing is just diving into the action.
Because I don't plan my life. I'm not kidding you. It's something I stopped doing at, like, I don't know, 6.
Wait, all these
that's not true.
to-dos.
No. So here's the thing. To-dos is to organize, because you know me, wicked ADHD. So it's a cathartic thing for me to put things down on paper. I can't do it. It's a pen to paper thing. it's weird. It's like a release or a way of me just kind of like, I feel like it's, you know what? My life is chaos. That's my control.
Interesting. Tell me more.
Because you know my life is chaos. I mean, you know, you've seen my life. You've been involved in my life. My life is, it's literally a fucking tornado at all times. And I'm that cow just like.
So how does the cow deal with the tornado? What's the lesson
Okay,
here?
you know what? And why I say cow is because you ever watch, you know how they depict cows in tornadoes and they're just all legs like this? If it's a person, they're like, freaking out. I'm just, I'm the cow.
Moo.
I'm like, can't do shit about this. Hope I land on something soft.
I like that.
I'm the cow.
Be the cow in the tornado, friends. When your life is chaos, be the cow.
You're really gonna show this to people?
This is gold.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Don't
the
sue
cow.
me for anything.
The cow gives no fucks.
You can't.
Good point.
Really? It's
Yeah.
not aerodynamic enough to give fucks. Like all four legs just hanging down, chewing on some grass. Got my grass. Yep, that's me. So yeah, and I think it's so that like helps me just be like, and if I don't accomplish things, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. If I don't accomplish things, I like fucking like, like I get, but then there's certain things that if I go, oh, that's not that fucking important. Like you look at it a day later. That's why I like the list, is because it's like if you look at something a day later, it stays on there for like 3 days. You're like, do I have to do this?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, is this, I haven't done it for 3 days and life isn't different. So, like, do I have to? I mean, yeah, I gotta feed my kids and groceries. I just totally went cross-eyed. I don't, yeah, so anyway. No, you, like, I'm trying to look at myself. Never mind. So you have to do certain things. That was digression. I'm not used to looking at this. So anyway, you have to do certain things in life. You have to doing things you really hate doing, like cleaning out kitty litter boxes, but you gotta do it because that shit stinks, literally. So, you know, that's kind of your life, you know, like, just take care of the shit you have to do, but then there's other things that you're like, oh my god, do I have to organize my closet today? No, save that for when you're snowed in and hate everybody, you know what I mean? You're like, I've gotta organize my closet today. Don't come in and help me, and you lock yourself in a room and get fucked up and watch a lot of TV and throw away 3 t-shirts so you
accomplish something.
You can put a question mark next to that on your to-do list. Might need to revisit it. But it's like, you learn, that's a good way to prioritize things, is like if they haven't taken precedent in your life for like X amount of days, is it that important, you know? I don't know. It's just,
that is good. I need to do more of that.
Yeah.
That's helpful.
And I mean, you know me, I'm like, you know my to-do lists. You've sat with me with my that I'm like, I have to get this done, and you know.
And you get a lot of it done.
Oh yeah, when we've done our jewelry making and shit together, it's like,
it's good.
I am
It's a lot of fun.
psychotic. I think I internalized some sort of Japanese worker at that point, because I do not have those normal work ethics. But all of a sudden I get like, I'll shame my family if I don't accomplish this by the end of it.
And you get it done.
It's a good thing. I need more ethics like that.
What are your values? Okay. What's something you're extremely proud of?
Yeah, that was one of your questions. I don't know, because, you know, it's weird, I would just normally say my kids, but they've done it, you know, like, I mean, I'm proud of them, but I feel like pride is something you should have, like, not feel for somebody else's actions. Does that make sense? Because I feel like sometimes when I'm like, I'm proud of my kids, I mean, it's like I'm taking credit for what they're doing, and I don't like that, so I don't like saying I'm proud of my kids. I think I'm proud.
That said, she's very supportive.
Oh, yeah,
she's a great mother.
Supportive. It's just that I'm not taking credit for what they did. Mm-hmm. You know, I mean, I'm there in the background, and I'll support them at anything and everything as long as it's productive. I mean, not productive, but, you know, like, as long as it's not just, like, I don't know, I want to go eat Thin Mints and watch TV for 4 days. I'll be like, it's not a goal.
Yeah.
Maybe it is, actually. Sounds pretty great. Anyway, to-do list. You know, but I'm like, you know, but they're really intense kids, but they've done that. So I guess I would say, though, I'm, like, proud of my kids, like, in the terms I, like, raised them, like, like, my accomplishments with them, that, like, I didn't kill them, like, I had never, you know what's really cool is when this is inside out, it reads the proper way. It's like ambulance. Anyway.
What'd you say, you have ADD? Yeah. Okay. That is a good thing to be proud of.
Size matters.
What's something that you feel like you have failed at?
Oh my God, everything. Like, but it's fine. That's why I'm like, I don't really think about it. I'm just like, that didn't work.
I like that. That didn't work. Then what?
I move on, man.
Yeah.
Or try it again. Like,
see why I like her?
Because I'm like, well, I failed miserably and I pissed a lot of people off, but that was kind of a fun experiment. Maybe I should do it again. That's the beauty of really not caring if you piss people. I mean, I don't want to hurt people, don't get me wrong, but, like, I'm like, if you're mad at me and it's for something that you're feeling against me, not that I'm, like, actually doing to you. Obviously, if I'm doing something to you, then it's, like, terrible, you know, hate me. Yeah, I deserve it. But if you're projecting your shit on me or your opinion of me as something I don't like, that's you. That's on you. And I'm not going to be like, oh, so-and-so doesn't like me. I'm not going to try to make you like me. If you don't like me, fuck it. There's not the chemistry there.
Yeah.
But I don't get vindictive with people. That's what I think is so weird, is like how many people, if somebody instantly doesn't like somebody, they're like out for blood. And I'm like, why are you wasting that kind of effort on this shit? Like, just because you don't like somebody. I mean, obviously if somebody does something to you and you have a personal issue, you're like, oh, you're going down, bitch. But, or not. Depends on how much coffee I had that day. It's kind of like some days I'm just like, it's a lot of work. I don't feel like typing that. That sucks. But, you know, I mean, like, for the most part, it's just, yeah, what kind of goes back to the taking responsibility, too. Like, I'm not responsible for your shit. Like, if you don't like me, great. That helps. Because I feel like so much of what people do is for other people. And it's weird because, I mean, and you can attest to this, I'm so not a selfish person. Like, I'm super giving.
I wanted to say, actually, so Amy is someone who likes to give the presentation that she doesn't care about anybody or anything, and she doesn't like people, and don't hug her, and all of this, but when you're in trouble, she's the number one person who will be there in a second and to care and help. She is always there for people that she cares about, and that's something that I really value about you.
Yeah, but I mean, I think a part of that, and honestly, is kind of not giving a fuck or letting other things get to you, enables me to do things without expectations. Now, here's the thing. I don't expect things from people, but I do expect people to at least appreciate the effort I've put towards something. So when somebody shits on me in that way, like if I've done stuff for them and they crap on you, you're dead to me. Like, that's the other thing, is when people are like that, and I know that sounds really harsh, I don't want them in my life. And it's not because I'm like, fuck you, you're out of my life. It's more like, I have no energy to give you anymore. You tap me, you use your designated amount of energy, and guess what? You gave nothing back, so I couldn't fill that tank up again. So, dead to me.
Does that ever sit and like smolder inside as something that you wish that you still had? Like the friendship that you used to have, is that something that
No, it's so weird. When I decide I'm done with somebody, it's like a fucking switch flips. It's bizarre. It's like, even I'm kind of like, like, I'll kind of go to bed mad, but I've made that decision, and then I wake up the next morning and I'm like,
start fresh.
It's not even that perky. It's just like, who are you? It's like, Like, maybe I give myself tiny lobotomies at night. I don't know. That ice pick next to that's why the ice pick's there. Kept wondering. I was like, why is that there?
No wonder it's easy to be a cow in the tornado.
Lobotomy, I highly recommend it. Does wonders for your day.
Number 2 lesson. Lobotomies at night, guys.
No, but you know what I mean? It's like if you set your mind to it, it's just like programming yourself. You just, and I know that sounds like cold and harsh, but it's just, I've just been, when somebody just pisses me off, rather than exerting anymore, I mean, I'm going to be pissed. Don't get me wrong. I was married 23 years and I adored him, but like pissed off most of my existence with him. And that's, I mean, when you love somebody, it's kind of different. I think you can let them manipulate you in different ways. More than you would the average person. It's weird, you know, but, yeah, I mean, other than that, if you're like, especially if you mean something to me, I'm going to dwell on it a little more, but it's, what is funny to me is that I notice people, and this is, I mean, I'm 47, so this is like, I'm comparing it to when I was a kid. I've seen the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and everything, and I hate to do this as like a generational thing, I really do, but I feel like we're in more of an era now where people are less polite. I've said that, like, we don't, and I like polite. I mean, I like polite. I think it, as chaotic as I am, I love order. Because order allows my chaos to be productive.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's something we were going to talk about. Are you finished with that sentence? Sorry.
Absolutely.
So,
but did that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
So, we were talking earlier about how wearing the same thing every day would be great.
Conformity, and I'm not saying like there's brainwashing. People can have their own thoughts and everything, but it would be great if we just
like
had
uniforms,
like, because it would eliminate class. Mm-hmm. It would eliminate, you know, I mean, obviously there'd still be the have or have nots, but I love, it's like a fucking weird futuristic thing, but also the no wasting time on the minutia of like, what am I going to wear today so I can project this image to do this or whatever. And I'm not even saying like it's always trying hard, but like today, and then I look at myself, I was just like, well, I want to look like not a schlump. Clearly.
She put effort in, guys. Give her a hand.
Yeah, I was like, no, we're on video. I'll try.
This is trying. She was in her pajamas, and it was like a black top.
Yeah,
which was fine.
With my Star Wars bottom. I know, but I smelled like beer, I think. I don't know. I always smell like beer.
She works at a bar.
Yeah, I work at a bar. No, I just sit at home and drink beer all day, so I smell like beer. Yay, date me. Anyway.
She's single.
Oh my god, I look possessed. That's gonna get me a date. Anyway, yeah. So uniforms, conformity. One less thing to think about. Why? I mean, it's like sometimes I want to live in that white house with no things. Yeah, which, if you've ever come to my house, which nobody has because it's secret. And the body smells a little funky under the stairs. Anyway, no, if you've ever come to my house, you know I collect everything. So it's like weird because I love and I'm passionate about collecting and finding and all this, but at the same time I hate being tied down to that shit. Mm-hmm. And uniforms would be, which is weird because you know I'm very expressive in the way, I don't think about how I dress, but I have definitely, people are like,
you have purple hair.
That's the color gray though. It just distracts from the gray. If you notice, it's not over here because I'm like, I only have the energy to do this. But if there's a big blinking light here, they don't look over here.
It's clever.
Distract them. Mm-hmm.
Speaking of distraction,
what were we doing?
Conformity.
So, yeah, I think I said my piece though. Like, it's just, it's like a waste of fucking time to always be impressive. Oh, but then people, I think that's what it is like people get wrapped up in other people carrying who they aren't even like that involved with, or even, and when I say people, I mean like society. People are so worried about what they're projecting to society, and I'm like, why are you wasting your time on that? And it's funny because I don't want my way, like, that I feel and look and project myself to go away, but I feel like conformity would, like, eliminate a lot of our issues, our butting heads, because it would, like, even the playing field.
I like that I think this is a really interesting thought. So, like, for me, when I'm thinking about authenticity, one of the things that's really important to me is that people are expressing themselves in the way that feels like there's so many different ways to express oneself. Mm-hmm. And I feel like fashion is one way that Absolutely. We can express ourselves, especially for people who don't necessarily think of themselves as being creative. I feel like fashion is something that is accessible to everybody and or accessible to most people. And so, like, I want to encourage people to feel like they can step out of the conformity and explore in that realm. But I also appreciate what you're saying about when we're given all of these options and we have, like, so many things on our plate, and just having some conformity, or at least, like, less choices, that would give us the freedom elsewhere to pay attention.
Right, that's what I'm saying. It would create a freedom, you know? Mm-hmm. And it's like, yeah, it's weird, and it's a very, you know, because, you know, I'm a thrift store junkie. I love the weird clothes. You know me. It's like, so that's a huge expression on my part. Mm-hmm. Which is funny, because I don't really get up and be like, I'm going to project this today. I never do that, but I'm just like, this is clean. But I have enough of a cacophony of clothes that I always feel like I'm at least expressing myself on some level, and it's not riding up my butt, you know, that kind of thing. Comfort. But, you know, I mean, I just feel like, especially with social media, I think it's brought it to the forefront because we're judging each other way more than we ever did. And we're judging each other from really far away, which I think is like the distance demon. You can't really see what's there, because when you're looking at something, you know, like fucking a mile away, it's not what it is up close. And we're judging everything on something that's a mile away via, you know, satellites and dishes, you know, and like we're judging people that way. And we're like, we're not there. But people are quick to fuck you, social media, you know? It's turning people on each other a lot of the time. And it sucks because it could be such a good thing, but...
You were talking earlier about Facebook as being a playground where there's bullies.
Absolutely. I feel like it's the modern playground. It's like, and every day some kid's getting the shit kicked out of them. I don't know if it's just, I mean, I don't think it's just on my feed or just in my life, because we dwell within performers, which are like, drama. So, I mean, like, you know, we have an excessive amount of drama, and also then my tattoo world, which I dipped out of that because I was drama. You know, it's creative people, drama. Like, and I'm not saying not other people do, but creative people drama is a whole other level of drama. It's like watching a theater in the round interactive shit show. And I'm so not a theatery you know me, I'm like, just leave me alone, you know. So I feel like social media is giving people platforms to be those people, to be bullies, because they feel safe. Everybody knows this. You feel safe behind a screen, but I think there are people that have so much animosity because they aren't maybe people oriented that they get extra nasty on social media, you know, because they're couch warriors, you know, they're just sitting there like...
Couch warriors, I like that.
And it's like, no, stop. You have such a distorted view on, like, what you're spewing. I mean, you're getting your fucking facts from the Onion. Stop it, you dipshit. Like, I mean, I'm gonna say the Onion's getting sneakier. Notice how they're, like, just kind of putting their shit, like, real low in the corner, because I think they like that they're fucking with people on some level. That's a whole other thing. Conspiracy theory. Anyway, but... it's like people don't do their research. What happened to that?
And not just in politics and the national and international stage, but in interpersonal relationships.
All the time. Because they're learning how to do it through social media. Think about it. There's a whole generation that's been raised on social media. And have never had to interact on the same level that, like, you and I did. Dude, I grew up with, like, phones that could choke you to death. I mean, now they give you cancer, but that's a whole other thing. But slow death, instant death, you know?
Oh my God. Think about that.
Do you not remember getting, like, clotheslined by mom's, like, like you'd run through the hall and be like,
Who ran that fast through the halls?
With scissors and a knife.
You're not dramatic, though.
Yeah, but you know me. Like, no, I guess I am, but I think it's more an element of crazy than it is drama.
Okay.
I don't think I do a lot of shit for attention. Because you know me in
No.
a crowded room, I'm more like, I'm gonna go sit over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not an attention thing. But...
Yeah. Okay, so back to the bullies in the playground.
Oh, yeah.
Facebook and social
Well, that's
media.
actually a good segue because the attention thing. And I think it's for people that would normally not draw attention, this is a way for them to draw attention to themselves. And they become a bully because it gives them power along with drawing attention to themselves. Because quite frankly, it's easier to succeed by tearing somebody down than by bettering yourself. Let's face it, you know? It's... And I think that's what a lot of people do these days, is they're like... I mean... I remember in high school, like, the worst thing that could happen was a slam book. But the only thing that was, like...
What's a slam book?
You don't know this? Oh, my God. I'm so old, but this
Tell
is
us
so
what
great.
a slam book is.
Slam book. They were, like, spiral notebooks. And they, you know, it was basically, like, it'd get passed around. Like, somebody's name would be at the top of the page, and people would write shit about them. Like, and it could be nice or it could be... Most of the time it was nasty or, like, some rumory thing. They were pretty bad. Or, like, you know, who's... fucked to or whatever, you know, it's like, but it would get passed around the school and people would write, so you didn't know who was it, and like everybody would be in the slam book, or you know, like certain, oh, it was mean as shit, but only the people that saw it within that, it's not going to be like across the country, do you know what I mean? Like somebody in LA is not going to be like reading your slam book here in DC. Now social media is like the ultimate slam book. You can post things and people like are right behind you. And that's the worst is you can rally people now with it. Like in that you'd be like, oh, gossip, did you hear this? Blah, 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 blah. Now it's just like a soapbox. So it's gone from bullying like via like a little like talking behind people's backs to soapbox and like full on mob mentality.
So what is your suggested way to deal with that? How do you...
Personally or like as a whole?
Both.
Well, we're fucked as a whole. Like, it's all Terminator and shit from here on out.
All right.
Skynet.
Personally.
Why you become a prepper? Common sense shit, Alyssa.
When the apocalypse or zombies come, I'm going to her house because she's a prepper.
Like a really shitty prepper, it's more like, I just need to figure out things. Because, like, how long are you going to live off of stockpiled food? Let's get real. You're going to have to kill some shit. Where were we before that?
We were talking about how you personally deal with, or maybe not you personally, but how does a person personally deal with soapboxing, bullying, upsetting situations on the internet?
I mean, well, I don't know how anybody else should deal with it because everybody's different. I mean, quite frankly, I know some people that it helps when they just obsess on there and get venomous and get it out. Like, they love battle. Like, they feed off that shit. Like, they enjoy it. And I don't get that. But if it's something that bothers you, just fucking walk away, you know? Like, walk away. And I'm not gonna lie, I don't go on, like, somebody's page if I haven't seen them or I haven't thought, I've thought about them or whatever. Or, like, I've had kind of a falling out or whatever. Just, it's more to see what's just going on. Because when you've had somebody in your life, you miss that. But at the same time, you're like, I don't want to get involved with the drama again. I don't want all that. But I just want to see what's going on in their life. So you can pop in. But you don't need to fucking stalk people. You don't need to, like, follow even the feeds. Like, even shit, like, from your algorithms that get put into your feeds can just, like, and I fucking hate the word trigger. Like, it pisses me off to, like, epic proportions. If something, because you know why? Triggering, that word triggered is putting the responsibility on somebody else. And it's like, take responsibility for your actions and how you react to something. Quit giving other people the fucking power. Because the minute you're like triggered, you're like, I'm out of control and you're controlling me. No, fuck it. I have things that really bother me and I do this. I'm like, I'm acknowledging that it bothers me and I'm just like, I'm not doing this. I shut it the fuck down because I'm not going to give that thing the power. Triggering's such a pussy thing.
I just did you see I had some videos the other day on triggering. I did a couple
videos. And I was like, and I love you, but I was like, I'm not that sympathetic. I'm like, take responsibility for yourself.
No, that's what I was saying.
Well, you were, but you're sympathetic about it. And I'm more like, throw a set. Look, you've met my kids, and I've grown them up to be like, if something fucking upsets you, understand that, cry it out, deal with it, do what you need to, but don't fucking hang on to that shit. Mm-hmm. Don't you feel like they're really pretty well-adjusted kids?
Yeah, they are.
Like, and it's something and I think that's one reason I've had a year. Haven't I had a fucking year?
It's been pretty intense.
Like an intense year. And I think that I'm like, I wrote it out pretty well. And I think it's because I learned to, again, compartmentalize. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of baggage I put in the back. And I'm not saying it's never going to get dealt with.
Well, and I've seen you. I mean, I was one of the concerned people, and I didn't say it at the time, but I was one of the concerned people who wondered if you putting the box of the monster in the closet was going to come and haunt you later. And I've seen that you need the time to deal with it on your own timeline, and then you do deal with it. Like, you do go back into that closet, open the box.
I deal with it in bits and pieces. Or I'll deal with it, like, as a whole, but I'll dive into it, and it's like...
When you're ready.
When I'm ready, and, like, the whole thing, like, I caught a lot of shit from people for not doing, like, a memorial and shit for my mom, and I'm just like, A, I know my mom. That wasn't her thing, and B, I get that other people need to grieve and all that, but guess what? I'm not the ringmaster there. That's not what I want. The last thing I want is to be around people.
She's super authentic. She does Amy. She does the way things
work
for her. But I'm like,
that's a big fucking deal in my life, so I'm going to deal with it how I want to fucking deal with it. Don't give me your, like, psychotherapy bullshit, and if you want to have a memorial, bye-bye. Go take your fucking casseroles and do it, and I support you 100%, but I don't want to be there. I don't want to fake it around people. Mm-hmm. I'm not good at faking it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just, faking it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
And I just don't have it in me. And to me, I'm like, my family's private. My dad agreed with me. We didn't want that. That wasn't our shit. We don't put our shit out on the fucking table for people to, like, gawk at.
Mm-hmm. And it's fine if you are a family who does that.
Right, and I respect that. But don't project your shit on me, because that's what you want.
Yes, projection.
That's why people are miserable, is because they project. I project shit on people all the time. Trust me, I know. I mean, and then I step back and go, that was me glorifying a situation, because 5 minutes ago, that motherfucker was getting on my last nerve, and I was like, swear to God, if a meteor came down and crushed them, I'd be the happiest person. And then as soon as they're not in your life anymore, all you remember is the good shit. You don't remember how they breathed, and you heard that whistle in the background, and you were like, stop breathing. You're like, oh my God, they were the sweetest, they were the best, and they smelled like this, and you're like, and then meanwhile, like, you forget about when they smelled like farts, you know? I mean...
Wait, how does this connect to projection?
Because you project what the person was. Like, you are projecting, like, when you lose somebody or they're out of your life and you're, like, getting rid of them, it's hard to get rid of them, because the minute you start to get rid of them, you're projecting all the great things. Own that and take responsibility for that. Do you see what I'm saying? The same as don't project your shit onto other people. Mm-hmm. Projection can be a lot of things. It's not just about one thing, like projecting and getting mad at somebody for something. It's also like projecting false memories. And
or like seeing the potential and recognize and not recognizing that potential is not reality.
Exactly. And I've done that where, like, you meet somebody and you're like, oh my God, I really like this person or whatever. And it's a lot of like chemistry and like things, and you know, and then you just. But it's good to recognize that. Like, you can get wrapped up in shit because you project wishful thinking onto things. Mm-hmm. Stop.
Stop.
Or if you recognize it, then at least go, I'm not really thinking this. I'm a little fucking high off of, like, being intoxicated by a situation or a person, or animosity is generally always comes out of disappointment. Mm-hmm. On some level.
Mm-hmm. So just set your expectations
low. Dude, my whole fucking life is lowered expectations. It's my motto. Yours is all awaken authenticity. Mine's lowered expectation. It's a great thing, man. It works.
Tell us more about why it works.
Because if you don't set the bar high... Okay, first of all, don't ever let anybody know how valuable you are right up front, because you put that in your back pocket, and then like 6-7 months down the road, you'll pull something really good off, and they're like, holy fuck. When you set the bar up here from day one, they just want you to keep climbing, and you're like, No.
It's exhausting.
But when you set that shit down here and you take baby steps, look at how much fucking room you have. You've got, like, years before they figure out your full potential. You can throw zingers in there, too, where all of a sudden they're like, did she just have potential? So that they're kind of kept on their toes. It's a great thing, man.
It is, I mean, I feel like I tend towards perfectionism, and I tend towards...
Well, I do, too, on some level for myself.
Really high expectations for myself. But I totally agree that if you can both, like, aim for the stars, sort of, so to speak, and keep your expectations low for what you hope to accomplish, so that when things don't work out, you're not disheartened and you can continue working towards those. Are
you talking more like in a job realm or a personal realm? Because, see, I think of it as two different things. Because you know me with, like, work ethics, I'm like, my expectations are up here. Like, you know, work ethics wise. I'm saying in day-to-day life. Like, when I go into situations and, like, meet people or I don't give everything right away. I don't do that. Well, I mean, and that's a trust thing, too. It's like, do I trust you yet? Are you worth investing in, you know? That's the other thing. Just don't always be an open fucking book. And I'm not saying it like not be dishonest, but tread with caution. Like, when you get blinded by or caught up in shit, you can make some dumb decisions. Hello, teenage hormones. Like, we never get rid of all of those. They still fire in our brain. You know, you're just like irrational over the dumb shit, you know? And I mean, I'm not saying hormones just in the way of sexual, but I'm saying, you remember when you were a teenager and, like, the dumbest shit would set you off, where you're like, oh my god, my life's over, you know?
I was a super late bloomer, and I think that happened to me in my 20s.
Okay, I gotcha.
Also, was a little bit of a goody-goody, so I didn't...
Yeah, I wasn't. my kids are really good, though, so... No, so, I mean, I don't know, it's just one of those things that I think people need to, like, just be aware of the expectations they set, or be aware of making people's expectations of you way too high, because then you have a lot to live up to. And I'm not saying don't, but, you know, it's funny, because it's like, if you, like, with people that you've become friends with, or you befriend, or whatever, and I've had this happen, if you let people in, they can, like, kind of use and steal you a little bit, and it's like, but you're letting them, so you can't really say that they're stealing it. You're giving it to them, and then, you know, don't be an asshole and try to take it back. You gave it willingly.
I like that a lot. I like that. Like, be aware of what you're offering.
I get more mad at myself than other people, but I'd rather be mad at myself, because I can control that. Like, I'm like, God, you fucked up, you dipshit. And I'll say that to myself, but then but at the same time, I learn to let it go, too. Like, I'll be mad at myself, but then I'll be like, whatever. When you're talking about failures, I'm like, fail all the fucking time. Do you want in a day? What did I fail at today? Because that's easier to narrow it down than, like, in life. And you just go, oh, shut back that shit up, and I'll dump it out later.
I love that. Shut back up your failures. Move on. So, thank you so much for taking the time this morning to talk with us. And
I'm sorry, like, it's probably a lot.
You're always a lot. You're my favorite lot. So, I wanted
I'm, like, just picturing this thing that's an actual creature that's a lot.
Have you seen those?
Yeah, it's What's-Her-Face. That I love her. She does the crazy drawings.
Yeah, I like this a lot.
That one. Yeah, that one. I want a lot as a pet.
You have a lot of pets, also.
I want a snail.
I saw the
giant African snail.
I saw the cutest little snail sitting on someone's finger in a waterfall, and it was, like, leaning out.
Dude, I want a
so
snail.
Cute.
Gastropods are like my new jam.
It reminded me of Parsnip, my cat. Parsnip is a furry snail. Okay, on that note, thank you so much again for joining us. And is there anything, if you were going to give, like, one of all of this magical advice, if there was one thing you were going to tell someone who is just trying to figure out their life and just trying to figure out, like, how to feel comfortable, fulfilled, and satisfied in their life, what advice would you give them?
I know, I'm still trying to figure that out. Okay,
What makes you feel the most satisfied and fulfilled in your life?
like an action or
What comes to mind?
you know what it is? What makes me most fulfilled is when I just get over shit. I get over it. Like, and it takes some time, but the minute you get over it, you're like, woo. I mean, whether you're boxing it up or dealing with it, get over it. Just put it away.
Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Bye, guys.
Bye.